Welcome to Legal View. I'm David Hogg. This is Aaron Gartland. Tonight our guest is Dothan tax attorney Reggie Rhodes.
On our show tonight, Reggie's going to be talking about tax law, estate planning, and contractual transactional type matters, including real estate transactions. And on our legal brief tonight, we'll be discussing a case that we're involved in over in Dale County against City Mortgage related to a loan modification program.
American law is complex and not always easily understood, so a little help and advice can go a long way. The attorneys of Hogg and Gartland Law Firm in Dothan present Legal View.
The Legal View with Hogg and Gartland.
Reggie, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Dave.
And tell us a little bit about you, your background, and how you became an attorney, a little bit of your practice history.
Well, to be honest with you, it's been a long road. I've been practicing a little over 18 years. I received my law degree from Jones School of Law and went back to school and got a master's in tax law from the University of Alabama. I have an undergraduate from Auburn University in finance, and I'm currently working on sitting for the CPA exam.
Tell us a little bit about the difference between just having a regular law degree and having the tax degree.
Well, the tax degree is more of a specialization or a concentration in a certain area. Tax, as you can probably well know, is highly, it's just highly specialized. And there's actually different areas within tax law that you can concentrate in. One area I like to concentrate in is in estate planning. I like to do, my practice consists quite a bit of estate planning for individuals, both with, low, moderate income levels to those of really high income levels and high net worth. So we cover a wide range of clients. We don't just work for the high income or high wealthy, what many people might consider to be a wealthy person. We cover the entire gamut.
And some of the work that you do, though, would be focused just on wealthy individuals. Is that true?
Some of the work we do is focused just on wealthy individuals, and we're talking individuals with a 6- and 7-figure net worth. And then, of course, some of our practice is with individuals, the majority of our practice actually with individuals with net worth of less than that.
Well, every family needs an estate plan, don't they?
Absolutely. If everyone needs an estate plan, everyone needs a will. Whenever we do an estate plan for a couple or for an individual, it actually consists of 3, sometimes 4 documents that make a complete estate plan. This would just be for the average person, the average income level person. The first document that we prepare is, of course, the will. The will is basically the cornerstone of your estate plan. The second document that we prepare is what's called a general power of attorney. This is necessary in case you become incompetent or incapacitated and can't make business decisions or decisions regarding your, really most anything. The third document that we prepare is what's called an advanced directive for health care. Now, some people want this document and some people don't. You might remember the Terry Schiavo case in Florida a few years back when the husband and the parents kind of fought over whether or not to take the Terry Schiavo off of life support. And an advanced directive helps in those situations because it allows the person to make decisions regarding life support, feeding tube, those types of decisions while they're still competent, they're still able. The fourth document that I highly recommend, especially in this area, and when I talk about this area, I'm talking about this location where we're located in Dothan, Alabama, is a revocable living trust. And you might say, well, why are you recommending it just because we're in Dothan? There are a lot of people in this area that own real estate outside of the state. They might own a beach house in Destin or Panama City, or they may own a place in Tennessee or a place over in Georgia. Well, if you do not have it set up where that property is owned through a revocable living trust, if something were to happen to you, you would have to probate your estate in Alabama and in the state where you own real estate. So if you happen to have a condo in Florida, then you're going to have your will probated in Alabama, and then you're going to have an ancillary administration in Florida. Well, if you own this condominium in Panama City in a revocable trust, there's no need to have an ancillary administration in Florida. The property automatically passes to the beneficiaries. So, where our location, where we're located, just not far from the Florida line, not far from the Georgia line, I recommend that people get, or at least highly consider, a revocable trust, even if we don't fund it from the get-go. But really, those are the four documents that I discuss with my clients, whenever we talk about estate plans.
And I know that on hospital documents that they'll ask if you have, when you go to sign in, do you have a advance directive for health care? Do you have a power of attorney? So the hospitals obviously consider those to be important.
They do, and we don't need to, when I say we prepare an advance directive, the advance directive covers only really 4 scenarios. The first scenario is if you're terminally ill, which means that you will not live longer than 6 months. You make the decision of whether or not you want life support, whether or not you want a feeding tube. The next decision is whether or not you're permanently unconscious, and that's where 2 physicians basically say that you're in a vegetative state and there's no chance of you coming out. Again, you've made the decision of whether or not you want life support or if you want a feeding tube. Now, that's not to be confused with what's commonly known as a DNR, or do not resuscitate. Do not resuscitates are generally signed as when you go into the hospital or in your doctor's office. But those are 2 separate documents that a lot of people get those confused. So we address the advance directive anytime you might go into the hospital for a procedure or for something that could be surgery, could be bypass surgery or some type of major medical condition. The hospital will probably ask you, do you want to sign a DNR? And that would be different from the advance directive that we're talking about.
Well, Reggie, tell me this now. You said that part of your practice is preparing these documents for people.
That's correct.
And what would you say to people that would ask you, why do I need to come to your office and have you do this when I can get online, or I can go down to Office Depot or Office Max and buy a kit and do it myself?
Well, there are certain laws in the state of Alabama that have to be complied with for a document to be legally binding and for it to be effective. Now, there are a number of kits that are online. There are a number of kits at Office Depot that you can go and you can actually fill these forms out yourself if you so desire. But just know that if you make a mistake in the execution of these documents, that the document may not be valid in the state of Alabama. So when you go to probate that document, the probate judge may say, I'm sorry, we just can't use this. You're going to have to, we're going to have to do an intestate estate. And an intestate estate is one where someone passes without a will. So it's important, number one, for the execution of the documents. Number two, you get a legal advice as to the legality of what you're trying to do, and what you're trying, if you're trying to omit a child, and I know that may sound strange, but it does happen.
For a number of reasons.
For a number of reasons. It does happen. There are certain things that have to be done for that to take place. And if those steps aren't followed, then that's not a valid document. So
take for example, leaving a child out, you may have already given that child a good bit of property or money, and so your intention is to divide the rest of your estate with the other children, correct?
Exactly.
But if you're not careful in drafting the will, then you might not achieve that result.
That's exactly correct, and the law takes very seriously the fact of, when a parent is trying to omit a child or omit another spouse. The law gives preferences to children and to spouses, and if you don't take the steps necessary to have those individuals omitted, then the law is going to presume that you did not mean to omit them.
Well, Aaron, it's important to have somebody like Reggie who specializes in this to draft a will. A lot of lawyers do different types of legal work, but really, to get the best result, you should have someone like Reggie who specializes in doing this. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely, and this is something I'd like you to elaborate on, Reggie. I heard a tax lawyer and estate planning lawyer one time say at a seminar that there's really just no such thing as a simple will.
And there's really not. Every will is unique. Person A may come into my office, and person A may have 3 children and a spouse. Person B may come into my office, they may have 3 children and a spouse. But their situations are totally different. What they want to do might be totally different. And if both of them went to Office Depot or to some box store and got a form instrument, does that form instrument, will it be useful for both situations? Chances are that it's not. So, going to see an attorney, going to see someone who deals in these types of matters on a regular basis, you get a customized plan for what you want to do, and you also make sure that it's compliant with the state law.
Well, and don't you find that sometimes the things they want to do might be better served or better accomplished by going ahead and taking steps to actively do it now in the present time rather than through documents in the future?
Oh, absolutely. There have been many occasions where people have come into my office wanting to do certain things. And I have to explain to them, okay, if we're going to do what you want to do here, this is how we're going to have to achieve those means.
Can you give us an example?
Sure. I've had parents want to come in and to omit children for one reason or another. And we have to take certain steps to make sure that the omission in the instrument is compliant with state law, so that when the will is probated, that the intent of the testator is followed. So,
Well, have you had situations come up where someone might want to make sure that a child or a spouse or friend or relative gets a piece of property, whether it's personal property or real estate, a vehicle,
Absolutely.
or whatever, and you kind of guide them through, maybe it's better to go ahead and deed that property over
and
now,
exactly.
or give them a gift.
The big thing right now, guys, is you have a lot of people who want to avoid probate. And probate can be very expensive, and probate can be very litigious. There are things that we can do through estate planning that can take care of a lot of issues now, that whenever the time comes, and we're all going to pass, whenever they pass, the transfer takes place automatically without having to go through probate, without having to set up a trust. So if you have proper planning, you won't necessarily have to probate a will. You won't necessarily have to have a trust. Working with clients all the time, where the parents want to leave either property or a house to certain children, or want to leave cars to a certain children, or those types of things. And there are ways to do that without necessarily drafting a will. Now, you want the will in place.
Sure.
You want there to be a will, because it's a safety net in the event that we miss an asset in transferring these assets, or in the event they go out and they buy something else in the future that they've not, planned for Johnny to get. You always have to have a will in place as a safety net to catch these assets. And then if we have to probate the will, we probate the will.
And Reggie, a part of what you do, like any lawyer, would be to counsel with your client, and you don't get that from Office Depot forms. And
No.
you may need to tell your client, look, you should consider this decision as opposed to this decision.
I have many clients come in and they tell me what they want. I want a trust. I want a will. And then I sit down with them and I take an inventory of what their assets are. I take an inventory of what their expenses are. And I then sit down and I analyze that. And then I come back on a second meeting and I'll propose, well, have you thought about this? You know, we can structure this in this manner so that we may not have to probate a will. Now, you still need a will, but if we structure this correctly, if we take care of this now, you know, if you were to pass tomorrow or a week from now, that will would not need to be probated because you've handled all of this now. So, you know, it's always good to bounce things off people. People come into the office thinking that, well, this is what I want, and because John Doe has told me this is what I need. And you know, what may be good for John Doe is not necessarily good for Jane Doe.
Sure.
So, you know, everything is customized, and you have to take each. We're all individuals. We all have our own individual situation and our own circumstances. And those situations and circumstances have to be taken into account whenever you're doing something as important as an estate plan.
Well, Reggie, estate planning is not the only thing you do. I understand that you do a great deal of loan closings, property work. Is that right?
We do. Mainly what we do I'm a transactional attorney. And one of the transactions that we do are real estate transactions. Whether it's a for sale by owner type situation or whether or not there are realtors involved. We handle all types of transactions involving the buying and selling of land, houses, condominiums, really any type of real estate transaction, whether it be a cash deal where it's financed through a local lending institution or through a national mortgage company. We've even closed reverse mortgages. So we have a wide range of expertise in the real estate arena.
Well, you mentioned for sale by owner situations. Do you get a lot of inquiries about people wanting to sell their own property?
We do, and you know, when someone decides they want to sell their house or they want to sell their property, one of the biggest decisions they can make is, well, do I hire a realtor or do I try to sell this thing myself? And they may be a first-time seller. And we've had a lot of people, especially in today's market, that they want to say, well, I want to see if I can sell this house myself. And so they call and say, what do I need to do? And we just kind of guide them through, okay, this is the first thing you need to do. The first thing you need to do, of course, is put a for sale sign out in front. When you need to know what you want from the sale of the house, how much money you want to clear from the sale of the house. You know, what is a good market price? Once you have a buyer, once you have someone who is wanting to buy your property, then you have to enter into another phase. You need to enter into a sales contract, and when you enter into a sales contract, you need to know, well, is my buyer getting financing? Is he paying cash? If he's getting financing, what kind of financing is he getting? Is he getting an FHA loan? Is he getting a VA loan? It's going to be a conventional loan. Because knowing those types of things is important to know whether or not you want to agree to pay some of the closing costs or not. So just a myriad of different things that go on a for sale by owner with a house or with land. So there's a lot of moving parts that need to be brought together, and especially for people who are not selling property on a regular basis.
A lot of forms have to be put together.
have to be there. There's a lot of forms. Of course, you have contracts, and then when you sit down at the closing table, you've got your transfer deed, you have your warranty deed, you've got your mortgages, your notes, other miscellaneous documents, and you have a title insurance. So again, there's generally speaking, on just a normal conventional loan, your closing package could be an inch and a half thick. So there's a lot of documents that are there, and we're there to help guide, if you're a buyer or a seller, we're there to help guide you through the process.
And commercial, you do commercial real property transactions as well as
We do
residential?
commercial transactions and residential transactions. And we've actually closed transactions out of state. We've closed them in Tennessee and in Florida and Arkansas and Mississippi and Georgia, and as well as Alabama. So we're able to, our tentacles stretch out quite a ways.
Well, what about, not to get back into the details of estate planning, but have you done estate plans for people outside of the state?
Yes, I've had people from outside of the state contact me and ask me to draft estate plans for them. Most of those individuals are individuals that have tax issues that have to be addressed. I've prepared plans for people in Georgia and Florida, again, Tennessee, Arkansas, South Carolina, just all over the place. But those types of plans, people that are seeking me out for those types of situations, generally speaking, they are high net worth, and it's not your typical estate plan. You're talking about a lot of different types of trusts, and but we're able to help them.
We appreciate you being here tonight to talk with us about these things.
Well, I appreciate you guys inviting me, and if anyone needs help, please feel free to call.
How can they reach you?
Well, they can reach me at my office. My office number is 792-6213. They can reach me there 5 days a week. If I don't happen to be there, if I happen to be out, they can leave a message with one of my secretaries, and I will definitely return the phone call.
Great, thanks again. Tonight's legal brief involving a case we're handling in Dale County involving property issues. Tell us a little bit about that case.
It's a lawsuit that's been filed in the Circuit Court of Dale County with a jury demand. And basically what the allegations and the are in this lawsuit, it's a lawsuit where we again have the opportunity to represent some good, hard-working people over in Dale County, and it's against City Mortgage. And again, basically what the factual contentions and allegations are is the couple, like I guess so many Alabamians experienced some hardship, some financial hardship, and the husband lost his job, contacted City Mortgage regarding their home, the mortgage on their home, and basically said, I've lost my job and I want to take steps to avoid losing my home, and was told that he would qualify, or they would qualify for a some type of mortgage loan modification program that would make it more affordable for them, I guess during this downtime being out of work, and was told basically that in order to qualify for this program, you have to be 3 months behind on your mortgage. So basically encouraged him to fill out all the paperwork. We'll get the loan processed, but you have to be 3 months behind. So do not make your payments for 3 months. He does everything that he's told to do, and follows up with phone calls, and because he's continuing to get letters that his mortgage is delinquent and in default. and he continues to call and fill out all the paperwork, and he's assured that he is in the program or going to be in the program, and everything's fine. He and his wife wind up being evicted from their home. So basically it just seems like a real catch-22 to be encouraged and told not to make your payment so you'll qualify for this program, and then you do everything that you're told to do and you're foreclosed on. So that is the factual basis, and we could talk in more detail about what the legal allegations are, but of course one of the allegations in the lawsuit, or one of the counts in the lawsuit against Citibank, is for fraud.
And this is just one type of case that we handle, fraud, consumer fraud.
That's right.
But we also handle personal injury, wrongful death, and we've enjoyed doing the Legal View, and we'd like to tell our viewers a little bit more about the types of cases like this that we handle. We have a number of cases around the state right now involving similar issues, involving fraud, breach of contract, wrongful death, and we'd like to tell our viewers how they can contact us if they have any questions, a case they'd like to discuss with us.
Well, we make it as easy as we possibly can. We're available. Our favorite way, or the way that we most like to do it, is in person in the office, but we're available to meet with people in their home. It's not necessarily my favorite thing to do, but sometimes it's necessary, and we will certainly, we've done it in the past, and I'm sure we'll do it in the future. We've actually met with people in hospital rooms. We'll meet in their home, and oftentimes, depending on schedules and the way things work, oftentimes we will talk about cases over the phone. So really, whatever the situation dictates is what we will do.
And we'd like to be accessible for our clients. If we're representing you, we want to be able to, for you to be able to get in touch with us easily if you have a question. So if you need to email us with a question, if you have a concern, want to call us, you can reach us at 334-699-4625 and email us at Aaron@HogGartlandLawFirm.com.
To submit legal questions you may have, email to Aaron@HogGartlandLawFirm.com. Thanks for watching. This has been a production of the Hogg and Gartland Law Firm and WDFX TV, Fox 34.
The Legal View with Hogg and Gartland.